Hi, everybody, and welcome to another delayed episode of Elves, Rings, and Nerdy Things. We are talking Season 3, Legend of Vox Machina. Today's Episode 3 of Season 3 of The Legend of Vox Machina. Sam, how are you?
Oh, Sean, I'm doing well. Let's see. Let's ignore everything in the news and just talk about our own lives. I started Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. This was something I'd wanted to do for a while, and Haley finally gave me the final push into it, and I'm doing it with a buddy. So far, I've gone 4 times, and I am absolutely worthless, but it's a good workout.
Are you and your buddy sparring together?
No, we are not sparring together. Generally speaking, they don't want inexperienced people going
Punching
against
each
one
other?
another. Yeah, because then you could accidentally hurt yourself or hurt somebody else. And so
But
I've been lucky.
is it accidental if you're learning jujitsu there? Like, isn't the whole point to hurt other people?
Well, that's the great thing about jujitsu is that you can go like full bore, and it's not a striking martial art. It's all holds and locks and things like that. And so you have the opportunity to tap and submit before any significant harm is done. And even then, a lot of the chokes, if you don't tap and somebody chokes you out, you lose consciousness, but then you wake up. It's a blood choke, not an air choke. So like you're out in, and then you wake back up. That hasn't happened yet, but I've been in some positions where it's like very obvious that if the person wanted to, I would be unconscious in seconds.
Let me know how that experience is.
Yeah. I haven't been, well, I'll let you know the first time I'm choked out, but yeah.
Because I feel like I've blacked out from hitting my head.
Oh, really?
But I don't know if I've ever like passed out from
Being
blood
choked.
choking.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Um,
I'm interested to see what that experience is like.
yeah, it was the first time I was in that position, it was very striking how quickly it goes from I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine to
So,
I'm
oh
about
God.
to pass out. Yeah, it was nuts. And like, but that's kind of the point that he was telling me. Is like, you want to be able to very quickly, when the opportunity presents itself, get, your arm here, your leg here, their arm here, and then all of a sudden,
It's over.
it's over, you won the match or whatever it is. So,
Well, that's fun.
yeah, yeah. Anyway, what's new in your life? How are you doing?
I've just got another mead going, and
Oh.
I actually completed last night the new Indiana Jones video game,
Oh, what's it called? The
The
Golden
Great
Circle?
Circle.
Great Circle. Yeah, I heard great things.
So much fun. If you like Indiana Jones, it's basically its own film in a video game format. It's a great story, great adventure. You're punching Nazis. It's it's pretty fun.
Is it set in the like World War II timeline, pre-World War II? Where
It's
is it?
set between Raiders and Last Crusade.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. But it's fun. You get to meet a whole bunch of new characters, some legacy characters that are in there, and it 100% feels like Indiana Jones. And when the game was over, and I did like that last uh, big fight at the end, fighting some Nazi archaeologist, it was good. I really enjoyed it.
Nice.
Highly recommend it.
Who is the love interest?
An Italian journalist.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Because one of your first regions that you explore in the game is the Vatican.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. The main areas in this one are Vatican. You go to Egypt, China, Thailand, Ziggurat of Ur in
Oh, interesting.
Iraq. Those
Very
are all
cool.
of the different locations. But very, very fun. Good game.
Now, is it available for the PC or is it just a console game?
I don't know that.
Okay.
I always just play Xbox. I'm a Microsoft simp, so that's my go-to. And I
Yeah.
don't even really look to see if it's on anything else, but potentially could be.
All right, I'll have to check it out because I've only got the PC and then the Switch, which maybe it's on Switch, but I don't know.
Maybe. But I need to talk about something else because the
Oh,
last week and a half has just been crazy. So let's talk about Vox Machina.
Vox Machina, yeah, episode 3 of season 3. This was a good one. Let's do the summary and then we'll jump into the discussion. How about that? So here we go. This episode is titled Vexations. In Amman, Thordak becomes suspicious of Rayshawn and issues a public bounty for Vox Machina. In Whitestone, Allura reaches out to her former teammate Dola, who is now a member of the Draconian Assembly, since Draconia guards a rift to the Hells through which the party might travel. Various relationship moments occur in the evening. Percy and Vex have sex. Vax rejects Keyleth because he does not wish to put her through the pain of outliving him, and Scanlan mistakes emotional support from Pike for a romantic advance. In Draconia, Percy and Vex stay behind to guard the rift just as the rest of Vox Machina enter. They are then ambushed by Vorugal. Dola betrayed them due to her jealousy of Allura and Kima and made a special bargain to spare Draconia. Percy, Vex, Allura, and Kima flee down the slopes of Draconia, but Dola summons an avalanche which separates Kima from the group as she tumbles down the mountain. Vorugal eats Dola when she annoys him. The dragon traps Percy, Vax, and Allura in a cave to hunt Kima. There, Vex declines a relationship with Percy, but expresses faith in the rest of Vox Machina, Kima, and themselves. All right, Sean, what were your highlights from this episode?
Let's go chronologically. I think it was great juxtaposing the Percy Vex with Vax Keyleth.
Oh, yeah.
Little storylines. You have one couple kind of embracing this is kind of the end of the world romance type of deal, and then the other couple rejecting that philosophy. I thought that was pretty interesting.
Yeah, it's an interesting display of the personalities, right? You've got Keyleth, who is supposed to be this somewhat. I mean, I know from a stats perspective, she's very wise, but she was always kind of played as a little. I don't want to say naive. I don't think naive is doing justice, but she's a little more innocent to the world, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And compared with Vax, who is this like kind of cynical, morose character because he's got this relationship with the matron of ravens. And then you kind of compare that to Percy and Vex, who each have their own baggage, but their personalities kind of manifest in different ways, right? You know, Percy kind of channels it through the tinkering, and then otherwise he is, you know, kind of upright and straightforward, and he's literally has his demons, but they're literally demons. They're nothing beyond that. And then Vex is, I guess she's almost bubbly. I don't know. She's not like goofy. Like she's still a serious character, but she knows what she wants. She doesn't play around.
And then we do get later in the episode, though, Percy is willing to recognize that affection and wants to have a conversation about, hey, what is this?
Yeah, where do we stand?
Yeah. And then Vex, I think, isn't there emotionally yet, or isn't able or willing to have that kind of deeper relationship with somebody outside of Vax. And then she kind of turns on him.
And she
friend
wants
zones him.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think some of it was like I didn't really buy it in the moment just because I know kind of where the characters go long term.
Mm-hmm.
But I get it. Like you want to draw the drama out a little bit. You want
the whole concept of I don't want to get hurt and getting close to you.
Yeah. Which makes
me,
sense.
Which is exactly what Vax is doing.
Yeah.
But at least Vex and Percy had a little fun first before they got to that.
They needed the release the tension.
Mm-hmm.
I did like the awkward encounter in the hallway afterward between Vax and Percy. I don't think that happened in the live play, although I don't remember one way or the other. But that was it's always fun to me when they do the like exaggerated facial expressions that it's like the trademark of anime with like the bulging eyes and the tiny mouth and like the sweat bubble. That's always it's a good way to like emphasize the humor of the scene.
And yeah, I do like when they pull moments directly from the campaign, and we do get that between Vax, Percy, and Vex later in the season. I don't know if you've got there yet.
One of the best scenes of all time.
Yeah, so I'm excited to talk about that one when it happens. But we also have a moment between Pike and Scanlan, where Scanlan unfortunately misreads a cue, goes in for a kiss, and Pike, that's not what she was going for. But that kind of self-loathing that Scanlan has is great character development.
Yes.
Because before, I don't think he would have been ashamed of that or embarrassed by that misreading. But I think it was a good sign of him showing, yeah, I'm trying to be a better person with like everything that's going on with Keyleth. I don't want to be shitty towards you, Pike. But yeah, I thought that was a nice little scene.
Yeah. And they also, did you get the sense that he was drunk? Like more so than usual there? Like he like kicks over the wine bottle. I don't know.
Potentially, I didn't get that he was drunk. I got that he pulled an all nighter
Okay. I
and
just
then
wonder.
was just on the balcony playing music all
Okay.
night.
Okay. I just wonder because in the live play they have the spice
Yeah.
prop, like the substance abuse issue, and I just wonder if they're gonna do that in the show as well, but with drinking. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Who knows? Anything else in Whitestone?
I think that's it.
Because I just have a few notes. Like this was a
Well, I mean, what did you think of the actual sex scene between Vex and Percy? Because that got a lot more graphic than I thought they were going to be. Like
yeah,
that,
it was adult.
yeah, it certainly was. Haley and I watched this one together, and she was like, "Oh my God!" Like I don't think she's ever, seen anime,
Yeah.
and like knew kind of that. Yeah, that was a thing that might happen, and I didn't expect it to happen either.
I did.
Okay.
Just because the show itself, the campaign is adult and they don't kind of shy away from that.
Yeah, but they don't they don't like role play.
No, because that would be awkward
I
if
know, like that's why it was kind of
yeah,
weird. I don't want to say weird. I again, I'm not a prude. I just didn't expect it.
yeah. I didn't find it weird. It didn't feel out of place. And I think it helped that while that was going on, you still had the just playing that off of the Vax and Keyleth scene.
Yes,
I think it did really well to show the staunch differences between the two.
yes. I
But no,
think that was
I thought it was handled pretty well.
yeah. That to me was kind of the point of it all, was juxtaposing these two relationships, and it wasn't gratuitous. It got the point across. Yeah. Okay, that's all. That's all that I have for Whitestone. So let's go to Draconia.
And my first note was I must not have been paying attention the first time I watched that episode because I don't even recall seeing anybody in Draconia. But then when I watched it the second time and they're actually walking through the streets, and I was like, oh,
Yeah.
yes, there are a bunch of Dragonborn just kind of walking around. I also didn't realize they really didn't walk that far from Draconia to the gates to hell.
No, it didn't seem like it. It wasn't an
No,
extended journey or anything.
no, because the moment when they're like, okay, yeah, we're here, and then they cut to the like the background scene, and you can still see Draconia like floating out in the back a little bit. And then it made me realize, like, did Dola, was it just her that conspired with Vorugal? Or was it all of Draconia?
I think it's just Dola, as far as I know. I was trying to remember from the live play. They go to Draconia because they hear that's where Vorogol was kind of like hanging out, right? And
And Vorugal has destroyed
yeah,
Draconia.
it was completely fucked, right? And that's when they find Tiberius like encased in ice or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I like this change a little. I liked the insertion of the Dola character. I thought it was good. It was a good reminder that like, this is a dangerous world and people, it wouldn't have. I like the fact that the episode opens with a bounty being put on their head, and then you actually get like a consequence of that happening. And then obviously, like, Dola has her own consequence.
But with Draconia being so close, and I had the same vibe too, that it was Dola who was conspiring with Vorugal. Nobody else in that civilization in Draconia was like, holy shit, there's a ancient white dragon flying around. Like, ring the bells. Let's go to the defense of Draconia.
Yeah, I think the that's definitely something I'm interested to see if Draconia is going to be destroyed. Like, is Thordak going to show up and like get revenge for Voragol's death. And even though Draconia didn't do anything to kill him, like, is he just going to be a manifestation of his rage? I could see
Hmm.
that happening. Again, in the live play, in the canon established in the live play, Draconia is destroyed, and the Draconians are, isn't there? And there's like a weird,
There's a
dy
class.
yeah,
Yeah.
there's like the Dragonborn with the tails, then without the tails, and the ones with the tails live in the floating islands, and the ones without the tails live on the ground. And then like Vox
Or like
Machina,
the slave class.
yeah, basically, and like Vox Machina has to negotiate some with the slave, like the freed slaves, basically, and maybe they even help with taking
Hmm.
down Vorgol. Like, there's a lot of different. They just replaced all that with this one character of Dola. Not replaced entirely, but a lot of the stand-in for the Draconians was replaced with Dola. But maybe we're gonna. That's not the end of it, right? Like, ostensibly, the Vox Machina is going to have to come back from the Hells, and what are they going to come back to? Is it going to be a destroyed Draconia? Is it going to be other Draconians? We don't know.
Yeah. Great fight scene so far between them and Vorogol.
I like the ice. Like, they do a good job showing
Hmm.
the ice breath magic.
And in canon, D&D canon, white dragons are more animalistic. And I think they do a really good job of portraying Vorogol as that. He
Yeah,
seems much more, what does he say, like even when he kills Dola, like biting her, chewing her
yeah,
up, all the viscera and blood and stuff on his lip or lips, on his jaw. Yeah, way more intense.
yeah. He's an animalistic hunter, not cunning mastermind like a Raishon
Hmm.
or Raishon rather.
Anything else in Draconia before we touch
Um,
on the Hells?
I did have a note that excellent use of Tensor's floating disc as
Mm,
the sled. I love little manifestations of that. I was pointing out to Haley all the different spells when we were watching. I was like,
mm.
that's Tensor's floating disc. That's globe of invulnerability. That's this and that. Yeah, I think that's it. And
Okay.
then we get the cliffhanger with the other half of the party in the Hells.
That brief moment that they're in the Hells, because we get a lot more of Hells in the city of Dis
Yes,
in episode
yes.
4. I loved a couple things. First, seeing Pike's amulet of the Everlight
Mm-hmm.
diminishing in
Mm-hmm.
power
Mm-hmm.
because you're basically in the most evil place there is.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was great. The portrayal of the city of Dis, all of the different souls kind of like funneling through to the center of this kind of like black hole in the center of Dis.
Mm-hmm.
And the best joke of the entire series so far. Did you catch it?
Well, there's a really good one.
It's
You just tell me what
okay.
okay.
So Grog, right when they go through the gate, and Vax goes, "Oh, dis," and then Grog goes, "Dis a rock."
Yeah, no, that was great.
It was
Uh,
so good, and perfect comedic timing, great writing. It very much feels like a joke that Travis would have done as Grog in the
totally. Yeah.
game. Yeah, good moment of levity after they're talking about how like all the evil souls of people of their material plane come here,
Yeah.
and then you see like,
The demons are like eating their souls, and
yeah,
it's terrible. And it gets even more graphic as we move
it's
into the next
gory
episode, but
and
yeah.
people's eyes are exploding.
That was a great joke. And then this episode opened with another joke in like when they're hanging out in the sun tree, and I think like a bird poops on Grog or something like that. And then
Oh, poops on Percy.
is that what it is? Yeah, he poops on Percy. The bird poops on Percy, and then Vex says something like, "Oh, it's
Good luck.
good luck." And then Percy goes, "Oh, I wish I had a bird's nest in my bedroom or something like that." And Grog's like, "Why would you want that?" And it's like they're obviously flirting. And Grog's just like taking everything literally, like,
Third wheel steps
yeah,
in.
it's great. Yeah, but I think this is a good episode. I think I like the escalation of the like both Draconia and the Hells are these fantasy settings, right? You've got Draconia, which is floating islands populated by dragon people. You've got the Hells, which is obviously a completely different plane of existence, different physics, different metaphysics. I like how well those things are integrated into the show. Like we can go from kind of, hanging out in a castle, making jokes and having sex to, these magical landscapes, and you don't miss a beat in the writing. It all fits well together.
And the world building of Matt Mercer comes through perfectly in this show
Hmm.
with all of the visuals. Even like the very first scene of this episode with Thordak kind of cupping lava onto his eggs. And then you see like the ruins of Amon
Yeah.
in that scene. So we've really gone kind of all over the continent in this. And especially because Draconia is in Wildmount. That's in a
Like,
completely
yeah,
different.
technically, yes, right? But they kind of never acknowledged that 100% in the live play during this
Yeah.
campaign. I think later it kind of fell into place.
They did in this episode though, when they go Draconia, like they gave you the name of the
Hmm.
place when they
Hmm.
got there, and then it said on the continent of Wildmount. But
Yeah.
now in this one series, we've been to all three continents.
Yeah. They didn't even like really bat an eye when they went to Ank'Harel, right?
Yeah.
Like it was just, oh, one minute they're where they are, they're in Whitestone, the next minute they're in Ank'Harel. And I don't like those things matter, I think, more when they're significant challenges to a group of role players. And in the show, like you don't want to make a whole episode about, you know, gathering the components to do a teleportation circle or whatever it is, right? Like I couldn't remember how they got to the Hells in the live play, but I know was it plane
Uh,
shift? Was it as easy as plane shift?
Potentially.
Like that's the
But
thing at a certain,
they would have needed a tuning fork
right?
to get there. But that's like you and I always harp on other shows when it's like, God, what's a good example? Rings of Power, how they just like all of a sudden they're in another place. But when you have a fantasy show like this with magic and teleportation and tree stride where you can
Mm-hmm.
just go
Mm-hmm.
from one place to another, the only thing I think this show is missing is kind of that, at least acknowledging the crazy jet lag that people would have.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I wonder if that's going to
Because,
become a thing in future seasons where like they need to use the different flows of time to their advantage in
well,
fighting
I'm
certain
saying
big bad evil guys.
even going from Whitestone to Marquette, that would be like almost opposite sides of the world.
Yeah, because Whitestone's
So,
supposed to be like northern part of Tal'Dorei, right?
yeah. So if you are able to make that trip, I don't know. I feel like if you leave in the morning and all of a sudden it's night, it always feels like they go from daytime to daytime. That's if I was going to pick one gripe for the show, it might be that little bit of continuity, but
Hmm.
that's so small compared to
Yeah,
all
it
of the
get.
positives that they do.
I mean, this is it. You brought up Rings of Power, right? Which,
I'm sorry, I didn't
yeah,
mean
no, it's
to.
okay. It's like the travel, the moving around that world was a big issue for us. And here, like maybe theoretically, these characters are moving far greater distances, but to the show's credit, they do explain that yes, Keyleth can teleport them through a tree, and they establish like that as an escape route, and then it becomes kind of a routine thing, and they reference the teleportation circle, and they show them using the flying ships in season one, I believe, and maybe even into season two. And like the whole reason they go to Draconia is to access a like this one specific magical place that like they need to get to, and then they have like they establish the rules for how it works. Like, you need to you need to open it up with a powerful magic user, and they talk about that. So like they do a good job explaining how the travel works, and you know it's not even a spoiler alert, but there will be consequences for the time it takes them to travel that we will experience in an upcoming episode.
This was episode 3 of season 3 of The Legend of Vox Machina. We will do better, maybe, at having episodes come out weekly.
Yeah.
Life has just been hectic. I think everybody can understand.
Yeah, you're talking to two people whose day jobs are tied in with federal spending, federal directives, and we're all dealing with certain consequences. So here we are.
You can follow us on Facebook. You can send us emails at elvesringsnerdythings@gmail.com. Episodes come out almost weekly on every major podcasting platform. That's it for me.
All right, everybody. See you next week.